got it. Okay. Still getting the lighting thing figured out. Of course, I do this right after work, so do I look my best? No. Do I care? Also no. Hi, Giggle. Today is my second stream, and I hope that it'll be slightly more interesting. Still trying to figure out lighting. I know like I said last time, I stream from like a really dark room because we keep all of our lights off. So I'm trying to find a way to make it look slightly better without it being too faded looking, but I just haven't figured it out yet. Eventually I'll have my own room, probably upstairs, not just in the living room like I'm at now. And so I'll have actually set up nice lighting specifically for streaming, but we're not there yet, which is fine. So my little corner is just in a corner of the living room where I have my desk where I write and work on my D&D campaigns and that kind of thing. So that's why I kind of look a little washed out. Try that. Now I look a little bit orange. That's probably the best, isn't it? For now, I don't know. I have this like I have a light sitting on a futon. We'll figure it out one day. Anyway, I had a presentation today, which is why I actually have makeup on. Is it perfect? No, but it's just for work, so I don't care. And I have my Jack Christmas sweater on. Is it Christmas? Also, no, I don't care. And I have my Halloween sweatpants. My chair's moving. So that's just how I'm going to be. Hopefully I have sound. I didn't have Bede test it to make sure I had sound. I should probably make him do that. I can see him logging in now. He's working on something for our future Fallout D&D campaign. I can see him working on it now. He's basically working on like a fancier version of this. So he's going to make billboards. But I think he bought one that's like cut in wood. Thanks, B. I do have sound. So that's good. But he's going to make something like this, but a little bit fancier. And then we're going to put like the little Fallout billboards signs in here. So he's working on that. He's been painting a lot of figures. So I might show those off someday because they are pretty cool. And he's been putting a lot of work into it. We used to paint our D&D figures back in the day. And of course, we did our best, but we just weren't that great at it back in the day. And now he's starting to really get detailed with it. So I can't wait to see the more he paints, the better they're looking. And so that's his like main hobby right now is working on that, which is super cool. And I can't wait. We should have painted more for this last campaign, our D&D campaign, but maybe we'll get to it in the future. I don't know. Most of the figures we have came pre-painted, so he needs to strip them. Did you bring some to show off? You're going to set them somewhere for me. Which one do you want me to show first? He brought me 3. Oh, this was the first one he did, so I guess I should start with that one, right? Isn't this how they do it in the makeup industry? They put like a hand behind it so you can see. This is a mysterious stranger, which he did cut off his cigar, but that happens sometimes because you actually have to cut these out and like glue them together. So he did accidentally cut off the cigar. Maybe I'll post pictures on my Instagram so you can see them better. I think Giggle will think these are really cool. He did really, really, like you can see how he painted the stones and it looks really, really cool. We'll do this guy. What's this one called? I can't remember. Securitron. So he made this guy too. And I think, again, the ground looks really cool. I know it's hard to see. Like I said, I'll post it. I don't have the best lighting and stuff. I'll post it on my Instagram somewhere. And then he's done this one, which of course looks super cool as well. He's gotten really detailed with the coloring. So it looks cool. And it's got eggs down there. I know that part is probably really hard to see because it's under her legs. Or his. I'm not going to judge. But it looks really, really cool. That's obviously a Deathclaw. Now it looks like it's really big. You can kind of see it. So he's been working on these. He's got a whole bunch of them because he just had a birthday not long ago. And so we, I think all of us wound up getting him some kind of thing from Fallout. So anyway, I'll take pictures of those and I'll put them on there later if anybody cares. And I can't wait till we do the campaign. But he has a little time. My campaign's probably going to go on a little longer, maybe to the end of the year. So I'm hoping by next year we'll start working on the Fallout one. And yes, we've always been a Fallout family in this house since before the TV show because we are a Bethesda household. I'm more of a Elder Scrolls girly, but he's more of a Fallout guy. So, great combination, right? Let's go ahead and get into my Mountain Dew situation. So I've already done a review for this Mountain Dew on my Instagram as well. It's okay. I liked the color a lot. I know it's kind of hard to see how beautiful it is. It kind of looks more of a bluish color here, but it's like this really pretty vibrant purple, which is why I wanted to give it a try because it just looked really cool. This is their Purple Thunder. Can you guys see? Purple Thunder. It's supposed to be a mix of berry and plum. I think it has more of a berry flavor than a plum flavor. And unlike most Mountain Dew, like the original Mountain Dew or Code Red, which is my all-time favorite, I don't really feel like this has that kick of carbonation or sourness that you're used to when you drink a Mountain Dew. It almost like went down more like a water to me, but that's somebody who drinks a lot of Code Red. Like I drink 2 or 3 a day. So cans. 2 or 3 cans a day. So I felt like this went down a lot smoother. To be fair, Code Red from a bottle goes down a lot smoother than Code Red from a can to me. I personally think that canned Code Red tastes better because it's got more of a kick. And I always feel like sodas out of a plastic bottle are more flat. I am autistic, so maybe my taste buds are a little bit more particular than the average person. But yeah, so I gave a review on this. I basically said, it's okay. I think I rated it like a 7 out of 10. I could drink this if I wanted to. Will I? No, because Code Red exists. There's no point. But it wasn't horrible. I think it's okay. If you like berry flavors, you might like this one a lot. Do I think it's as good as like Voltage or something? That's more of a classic one that we drink more frequently. Also, no, but it's not bad. So if you like Mountain Dew and you like berry flavors, it's definitely worth a try. Do I think it's going to stick around forever? No. Do I think the little guy on his bike is pretty cool? Yes. He's got pretty cool look. I know it's hard to see on here, but I do think that he looks pretty cool. I don't think he's going to focus anyway because, like I said, I just have an old webcam. But he's cool. He's not bad. He's trying his best. He's got like a cool helmet with a mohawk hat. And he's got a motorcycle. And then on this side, there's a guy with a sidecar. And he's like riding around. I also had bought this one because I haven't tried this one either. This is Mountain Dew's Baja Laguna Lemonade. It's a mango lemonade flavor, which I love mango and I love lemonade. I can't have lemonade because I get sick because of my acid reflux. So I can't have much of this, but I still wanted to try it because I like it. It's part of their 20th Baja Versary for Baja Blast and everything. And they are doing like special Baja inspired gear right now for Mountain Dew, which is cool. The patterning for it is very summery. It's got like a mango, obviously, stars, the Baja Blast like kind of wave going on over here, and a parrot with a hat over here, which is cool. Very Baja Blast-ish. I haven't had this, so I don't know how long this one's been out either. Some of these drinks could have been out for a while. My Walmart doesn't get a lot of the weird flavors just because I think we're so rural, so I don't think we get a lot of the weird ones. Sorry, I just noticed that my nose ring was all weird. So I'm gonna crack it open. First smell definitely smells more mango-y, which is good. Like I said, I like mango. That's actually decent. It's definitely more of a mango flavor. I almost don't taste the lemonade personally at all. I could definitely drink this whole bottle if I didn't think it would make me sick. It's refreshing. It has a very refreshing flavor. Very good summer flavor, actually. I enjoyed that. I'm going to be sad I can't drink this all. Do you want to try it, B? Hold on. He's got his hands in holding something and he's got glue. He'll be off screen. What do you think? He's not as much of a Mountain Dew guy as I am. Was that a yes or no? Meh. He gave it a meh. If you like mango, sorry, I'm Latina too, so sometimes I say it weird. Mango flavored things, you'll probably like this. But I don't taste the lemonade at all. So like I said, I would love to drink this whole thing. You'll be okay. Sorry, he just glued his finger to a piece of wood, so he just ripped it off. If you like mango, good. If you like lemonade, doesn't taste like lemonade. Does it taste like a mango lemonade? I don't taste the lemon at all. Does it taste like Mountain Dew Baja inspired drink? Yes, great for summer. I think it's a good. That's one I could see them keeping for a little bit because that's actually a good flavor. I want to try some of the other flavors if I can find them. Sometimes, like I said, I can't find them where I live, but I've been keeping my eye out. So if I find more, I know Giggle likes my reviews for food and stuff. So I'm going to try to get back into it and maybe do a couple random things. I have a lot of like sensory aversions and like weird things when it comes to food. So it's sometimes not always easy to try to be adventurous with foods. So usually you'll see B off screen also trying stuff. I'll try to get some weird candies or something. I tried a Slim Jim that was, what was that one? Sonic chili cheese dog flavor that literally tasted like vomit. And I think that kind of set me off trying new foods for a little bit because we'd done some on my Instagram for a while. We tried some weird flavored stuff, but it literally tasted straight up like vomit. And I couldn't even swallow it. I wound up spitting it out. It was horrible. So, Mountain Dew aside, I'm going to keep going. I know Giggle's going to watch these after work. So I want to make sure I have plenty so she can watch stuff while she's eating like normal. Hope your food is delicious. Hope you're eating lots of fruit. I wanted strawberries today, but I left them in the fridge too long and they got gross, so that happened. I'm going to then switch over to something completely different from Mountain Dew. And one of the main things that I'm going to talk to, because Giggle really enjoys it and so do I mentioned last time, are all things spooky. So cryptids, paranormal stuff, creepypastas, spooky stories, scary video games and movies, whatever. I'm going to talk about a lot of that stuff because it's things that I enjoy. I really like watching people do reviews of that stuff. Like Mr. Gigi is like probably my all-time favorite when it comes to reviews. Meat Canyon does good ones too. Charlie of Moist Critical, obviously, he has some really funny ones as well. Mr. Gigi's my favorite of those though for reviews for scary stuff. But that's mostly like movie reviews. I think they now have a podcast or something. The podcast with Wendigoon, Meat Canyon, and Critical, and I think they go over like cryptids and scary stories as well. So, kind of like that kind of thing, but less formal because I'm, like I said, just talking about it for giggle. I think she said she's going to send me some stories she wants me to read, so I might wind up reading some stories out loud. So if anybody else has any, feel free to leave it or send it to me on Instagram or something, and I'll read it. I don't care. Let me see. I thought I had some notes for stuff because, you know, your person over here has the memory of a squirrel sometimes. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about first is something that like kind of annoys me when I see a lot of people, not just YouTubers, but in general, like when you go out and you say, "Oh, I really like cryptids." I have a lot of cryptid merch, right? People like will bring up the most random creatures that aren't cryptids, or paranormal entities or just horror movie villains, and you're like, that's not a cryptid. I'm sorry. Like I love Slender Man, but Slender Man is not a cryptid in the same way that, you know, a kangaroo was actually once a cryptid. So I think that kind of terminology gets a little bit muddled, especially with so many people talking about it online. And so I want to make sure that anybody that's kind of following along with anything I say knows what I'm saying when I'm saying different things, which everybody might have a little bit of a different opinion, and your other people you follow might describe things a little bit differently than I do, which is fine. Everybody might have a little bit. But a cryptid at its very base are animals that cryptozoologists believe may exist, but the existence is disputed or they don't have enough to substantiate it by science, right? So Merriam-Webster even defines it that way, as an animal claimed to exist but never proven to exist. So it has to be like an animal, a real creature, right? There's a lot of different websites for cryptids. Cryptids fandom has a website, cryptidsfandom.com, and they consider it mainly plants or animals that aren't recognized by the scientific community, and they're thought to be either extinct or, but they might still be alive today, or creatures that can be proven to exist but are thought to still be alive. Most of this is obviously based off of sightings, which everybody knows. Everybody's seen the very stereotypical Bigfoot picture or the Loch Ness Monster picture, or maybe pictures of their footprints or something like that, because we don't have proof of it. We don't have samples of DNA or hair or anything like that most of the time. Now, this might change in the future, and then some of those creatures actually do turn out to be real. And that's why it's a little bit different than comparing a creepypasta monster to a cryptid, because cryptids can actually turn out to be real creatures that we just didn't know about. And I know when I looked up to find some that people would probably recognize, I found Indiana University Bloomington had 7 species that most people probably don't realize were cryptids, and the first being the Komodo dragon. Now, that was finally discovered in 1910, but there had been rumors about that well before that, but it's such a crazy, huge sounding lizard. People didn't think it was real. The platypus was number 2 on their list. That one was technically discovered in 1798. But when you think about a platypus, it's like poisonous. It kind of looks like a bird. It swims underwater. It's got fur. It's got a bill. Like, it doesn't sound like something that could exist. So there was a lot of people that didn't think it was real before it was discovered. I think it's pronounced okapi or okapi. I'm not personally sure. I love that creature, though. It wasn't discovered until 1901, where it was finally classified as a new species. And so you might see that one. That one kind of looks like a horse, but it's got the stripes, the white stripes on its brown fur, like on its rump, and I think on its legs a little bit. I like seeing that one. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. Gorillas were technically cryptids. Most people probably don't realize that, but they weren't formally discovered until 1847. And mountain gorillas themselves didn't come off the list until 1902 because they're slightly different. Giant squids, of course, are cryptids. The first images of those true giant squids were not caught until the 2000s. And then we found some later in the 2000s that were still alive. Some people still debate that these exist at the full extent of the sizes that are supposedly existing. So they're kind of still on that list of, can giant squids actually get as giant as we truly say that they do based off of stories of sailors and everything, right? There was one that's kind of like a dog looking one that I didn't personally know, called a Bondegazoo. I think this was discovered in Africa. I'm not super familiar with all of the animal life there, but they said that they didn't find that one until the 80s. So that's very recent, contemporary for someone that's a millennial like me. And number 7 on their list was the kangaroo. So the first time a kangaroo was described was by Amerigo Vespucci in 1499, but it wasn't created or finally formally diagnosed as a species until the 1770s. So you can kind of see how some creatures get like a really long time of people seeing them, but never getting formally captured and finally, formalized by the science community. So that's why certain creatures like the Loch Ness Monster could technically be some type of underwater sea creature that we just haven't been able to formally diagnose what kind of creature it actually is and determine that this is a real being. Now, there's the supernatural kinds of cryptids, which I personally still consider a cryptid because I personally think that some supernatural aspects of the world probably do exist and probably could be quantified by science if we were able to. But that doesn't mean that we have the technology to do it currently. And I don't know if we'll ever get that in my lifetime or in my kids' lifetime or my grandkids' lifetime. You know what I mean? So I might still consider some of those things cryptids, even though realistically, a lot of cryptozoologists or scientists may not consider them a cryptid. So, like ghost or something. They're not really as easy to quantify or study as something like a jackalope. Jackalope is a lot easier to see as a creature, as a cryptid, versus something that's got a supernatural aspect. Even Mothman who is a very common, popular cryptid. My favorite personal cryptid kind of has that too, because he's got a supernatural aspect to him that isn't something that you normally see for most creatures that are cryptids. You would never see a gorilla being a bearer of bad news or anything like that. It doesn't have the same kind of backstory as, you some of the goatmen or something like that. Um, so it kind of gets a little bit complicated with some of those creatures versus the more stereotypical cryptids that you think of today. So just keep that in mind a little bit. Depending on who you're talking to when you talk about Mothman, they may not actually consider Mothman a cryptid, even if he's one of your favorites. They might be looking more for the giant squids, the more boring cryptids we might think of. Let me look through my notes. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to stay on topic. I'm being good for you, Giggle. Like I said, I personally do enjoy the supernatural cryptids. I personally believe in all that stuff. I said that last time too. You're free not to. That's okay. Everybody's different. I've had enough experiences I personally believe. I have enough people that I trust that have personally had experiences too. But it's okay. I understand. I know it's hard. But when it gets a little bit crazy and a little bit frustrating for me is when people start adding stuff that is either clearly folklore and not real, or that could be creepypastas, like modern folklore, like creepypastas or something. Urban legends that we know are just urban legends, or even when they start putting SCPs in with cryptids. An SCP is not a cryptid. It's a paranormal entity. It's a story character. And maybe if you have the belief that if enough people believe in something, you can create something to be real, maybe in the future it could become something if you have that kind of belief, right? But on average, I'm not going to say that Slender Man is a traditional cryptid, right? He came to be because of I think they were having some kind of contest for creepypastas or something whenever the author created that story. Great job. They did a great job. Slenderman was a great hit at his time. He was so much fun. I followed a lot of that Slenderman stuff. There was the game. They did a lot of really cool art edits. And there are creatures, or I should say paranormal entities, that are similar to Slenderman, but they're not Slenderman, right? We know we've had hide behinds before. We know we've had shadow figures before. But a true Slenderman creature had not existed before that time when that person invented Slenderman as they are. So we can't really consider him in the same way that we would consider something that has a lot more empirical data like a Bigfoot or something, right? Not to say that that can't exist in the future, because there is power, I think, in belief. And so now I think we could start seeing people believing that they're seeing him because it's in our mind. It's kind of like, what do they call that in SCP? There's like a name for that. Info something. I can't remember. It's like a specific thing where once you get it in your mind, that issue would never happen to you, but now it does because you have the info. I can't remember. There's a word for it in the SCP community, and I'm kind of like on the outskirts of the SCP community where I kind of dabble in it, and some of it freaks me out a little bit too much because of the whole kind of gets a little bit too I'm not thinking of words very good. Existential. It kind of will bring me into an existential crisis when you get to certain things, which just freaks me out. So some of that I don't know as well. But there's a word for that info thing, where once you kind of start knowing something, it's more likely to happen. Some of the creepypastas or SCPs and everything are based on cryptids or other supernatural entities. And so that also kind of might make it a little bit confusing. Like I said, with Slenderman being very similar, or in my opinion, based off of similar creatures like that. And like if you look at the rake too, right? The rake in its new form is a creepypasta that was created, right? So it's inherently based in fiction if you look at that. Same thing with Jeff the Killer. However, there are things that people that made these stories based the rake off of. So I think the rake was based off of probably a little bit of the W word. we're not going to say its name because I know that that's kind of taboo. So we'll call them, I think most people call them mimics. And so we're going to go ahead and say that, but kind of has a mimic-esque feel to the rake, maybe mixed with a couple other different creatures and a couple from horror movie villains. So some of those horror movie villains were just invented from somebody's mind. And I think it did make a really cool character. The rake is a really cool creepypasta we'll probably get into eventually one day, but I don't really consider them a cryptid. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that will change. Maybe we'll get more data from people seeing the rake. Or eventually maybe we'll catch a rake. I don't think so, but maybe. We haven't caught a Bigfoot all this time, and I still believe in Bigfoot. So we'll see. Yes, I know it's weird to believe in Bigfoot. It's okay. And I also don't like how sometimes they get grouped together a little bit too much with all of these different kinds of creatures. Because I think some people just don't really believe in paranormal stuff, so they wind up just grouping anything paranormal or weird together, which I don't think is fair. But I really like all that stuff. I really like reading books on sightings. I really like reading people's ghost stories. I really like modern horror monsters. So just because I may not consider it a cryptid doesn't mean I don't think it's cool. But I just like all of that kind of stuff. So I've been reading a lot of ghost story books too, and I can always do reviews on those in the future. I don't know if I'll read any of those stories out loud because most of them come from people that also have YouTube channels. So I might just wind up saying, hey, these are based off of this person, and then link them or something like that. So you can see them if you want to. I might also review TV shows that I really like. On most of the time I watch it on Discovery Plus, right?
Yes.
Discovery Plus. I have a bad memory. Most of my favorite ones are on there because you get Ghost Adventures. I think Ghost Hunters is on there. Some of the Ghost Hunters. And I think my Terror in the Woods is on there. So a lot of my favorite ones are on Discovery Plus. So I can always review some of those. One of my all-time favorite shows is Paranormal State, which of course is over now. Like that finished a long time ago, but I have all the seasons. I have a lot of them down here. I have like movies down here. Back when I had to have hard copies of everything. So that's cool. You're letting it dry now.
I'm on it, so I can slide it in.
Oh, you'll have to let it dry. Sorry, I'm talking to him about his thing that he just created. He had to put together. It's gluey. It's a not a bulletin board.
Billboard.
It's a billboard.
No,
It's a thumbnail.
I cut a piece off the frame over there and glued it to the bottom, so I can
It's
slide it in there.
It's thicker than bigger than I thought this was gonna be. Like you have more space to be able to put the cards in. So we're gonna print different Fallout billboards so we can change it. So when we're traveling through the wasteland,
normally this
we'll be
is
able to put
supposed
it in.
be glued directly to that, but I didn't want
But you
that.
said you modded it, right? So you could make space so we can change them out. And so he'll get to paint this, which will be cool. And then if he wants, he could buy little doohickeys and doodads to make it look more like the ground. You can use rocks from outside. We got plenty of gravel. We live on a gravel road, so plenty of gravel. Anyway, that's kind of all I had. So we talked about my Mountain Dew, and we talked about my mini rant, I guess I should say, on cryptids, creepypastas, and SCPs. And I talked a little bit about the little things that I want to go over in the future. And like I said, I do have some stories I'll read because Giggle's going to send them to me. And if any of you guys also have anything, let me know. If there's anything you want me to review, let me know. If there's anything you want me to try, let me know. And I'm going to try to get good lighting because one of these days I'm probably going to do makeup while I'm talking just because of me having not a bunch of time. And these guys, I'll put pictures on my Instagram in case anybody wants to see. Trying to think if I have anything else to say before I'm going to go for today. I have things to do in about an hour, so I can't stay on for long during these things, unfortunately. That's why I always leave them up. But I can't really think of anything right now. So I'll come up with something else, and I'll try to stream again at least once more this week, as long as I have time. And I'll hopefully have something cool. We'll see. We never know. I never know. But until later, bye. Go.